Caitlyn Clark changes course and revises plans for European League. The request of Indiana fans has finally been accepted as Caitlyn Clark has hijacked her Europe League adventure, returned to America, and decided to play in the WNBA again. But let's not forget the WNBA has a toxic culture and has been a hot mess all season when it comes to Caitlyn, while Europe was practically rolling out the royal treatment for her, ready to slap her crown on her head and make her the highest paid female in the game. From the sounds of this interview, it seems like she's probably going to make more money overseas in EuroLeague than she did during this WNBA season. But the WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert realized the mistake and apologized from Caitlyn, personally condemning the racism and how they are going to fix things. Because let's be real, the WNBA has struggled without Caitlyn Clark, and now they cannot afford to lose her for forever. So what's the WNBA cooking up now? Are they actually going to stick to their promises, and how exactly did they convince her to stay after all that drama? Apology is warranted to Caitlyn Clark, or they just need to now. When's the last time you heard of a sports commissioner getting all vulnerable and apologizing to a player? Yeah, never. And let's be real, Caitlyn was about to peace out, take the bag, and become the international face of basketball. So for the commissioner to go full "we failed you" mode, that's next level desperation. This wasn't just some PR move they cooked up in a boardroom. No, this was personal. The commissioner came forward, admitted that the WNBA had let Caitlyn down in a huge way, like letting dirty politics and straight-up racist behavior slide on and off the court, the league turning a blind eye. Yeah, that was why Caitlyn had one foot out the door, passport in hand. So then Cathy Engelbert took to social media late last night, clarifying. In part, she said, quote, "There's absolutely no place for hate or racism of any kind in the WNBA or anywhere else." But suddenly the WNBA decides to own up to their mess, and the world is like, wait, what just happened? Because let's be real, the WNBA isn't exactly known for handling their drama well. They've got a reputation for sweeping stuff under the rug, hoping it all goes away. So when they come out and say, yeah, we failed Caitlyn, that's not just surprising, it's full on wild. It's like they finally realize, oh no, we didn't just lose a player, we lost a player. Caitlyn wasn't just their star, she was a reason people even tuned in, and without her, ticket sales tanked, viewership nosedived, and the whole league was on the verge of flatlining. The WNBA didn't just mess up, they were staring at their own downfall, and Caitlyn was the key to keeping the ship afloat. But the WNBA has been a mess this year. It has been so unprofessional, and they need to step it up, and they need to step it up quick by turning down that sweet, sweet European gig. She's saying, yeah, you messed up, but now you're going to fix it. This isn't just about her either. She's forcing the whole league to take a long, hard look in the mirror and start dealing with the problems they've been ignoring. That apology wasn't just for show, it was a wake-up call to the WNBA, and the fans promising things are going to change. And Caitlyn, she's leading the charge and says she will now try to adjust after the previous behavior of WNBA. If the WNBA doesn't fix their act now, they'll lose a lot more than just Caitlyn next time, or I think it'll definitely be a little bit of an adjustment period for myself. Not really. So now Caitlyn's back, but it's on her terms. The WNBA knows they can't afford to screw this up again. With Caitlyn returning, they are not just getting their star back, they are getting a chance to rewrite their entire story. This isn't just about basketball anymore, it's about fixing what's broken, and Caitlyn's the one holding all the cards. It's a power shift like we've never seen, and it's going to be the story that everyone talks about for years. And I'm telling you right now, if the WNBA can get away with this, what's going to happen next is one of the biggest robberies. The investigation into the league's internal issues didn't just uncover a few bad apples. Oh no, this was a full-on scandal. Turns out Caitlyn had been dealing with all sorts of garbage on and off the court. And who were the stars of this horror show? Angel Reese and Alyssa Thomas. Of course, you had to know their names would come up. Right, these two had apparently been dishing out a lot more than just hard fouls, racist comments, bullying, you name it, in the league. Well, they figured they'd let it slide because, hey, Caitlyn versus Angel, good for ratings, right? Spoiler alert. It wasn't try to implant racism and imply that everyone is racist because they don't agree with them, and they try to put that into everything that they are doing by then responding and saying, if you don't age with me, you're racist. For months, Caitlyn had been quietly putting up with this nonsense, hoping someone would step in, but the WNBA, they pretty much turned a blind eye, pretending it was just some friendly rivalry. But when Caitlyn finally had enough and said, I'm out of here, the league suddenly realized they just made the biggest mistake of their lives, because Caitlyn wasn't just a superstar, she was a superstar, and when she walked out the door, oh, the money went with her. Ticket sales gone, viewership tanked, sponsors don't even get me started. So what did the WNBA do? They went from an everything's fine to we're so sorry, Caitlyn, please come back in record time. The commissioner herself, Cathy Engelbert, had
tried to implant racism and imply that everyone is racist because they don't agree with them. And they try to put that into everything that they're doing. by then responding and saying, if you don't agree
to step in and issue a public apology. Yeah, they went from downplaying everything to full-on graveling in front of Caitlyn and the fans, and trust me, that's not something the WNBA does. This was uncharted territory, and it was a clear sign that the league was desperate. They knew they were hanging by a thread. They really felt like was a missed opportunity from Kathy Angelbert to really address and say, we don't support this sort of behavior in our league. And Brianna Street was another player who, after her game yesterday, came out and really echoed those sentiments and said that as much as the players love this sort of influx of fans that have come from this rivalry, at a certain point enough is enough, and that's what they really hoped. But while all this chaos was happening, Caitlyn wasn't sitting around waiting for an apology. Nope, Europe was calling her up with a deal that would have made her the highest paid female player in history. We're talking over $10 million a year. That's not pocket change, folks. That's life-changing money. The WNBA couldn't touch that. Right, wrong, in a move no one saw coming. The WNBA somehow outbid Europe. Yeah, you read that right. The league that's notorious for its embarrassingly low salaries suddenly found a giant pile of cash to throw at Caitlyn. They knew they had no choice. Without her, the whole league was going under. Now Caitlyn's not just the face of the WNBA, she's the league's lifeline. They can't afford to mess up again. Not with Caitlyn back on her terms. The league's entire future, it's resting on her shoulders, and you better believe they know it. If the WNBA doesn't fix their act now, they'll lose a lot more than just Caitlyn next time, and the Fever are going to be over 200,000 higher than the next highest total attendance in league history. Clarkonomics, my friend, Clarkonomics, because when Caitlyn Clark walks out of the WNBA and the whole league starts free-falling faster than a broken elevator, I mean, it's not even subtle. The numbers are bad, really bad. Ticket sales crash and burn, viewership cut in half. When Caitlyn was on the court, she wasn't just playing basketball, she was basically keeping the whole operation running. Her rookie season in 2024, yeah, that wasn't just impressive, it was heiser. She single-handedly dragged the WNBA to heights they hadn't even dreamed of in decades. Her games were averaging a ridiculous 1.8 million viewers. Let me just say that again, 1.8 million. The WNBA hadn't seen numbers like that since they invented the 3-0 line. That since the start of the regular season, sales of WNBA merchandise are up over 500% versus the same period last year, with fan gear sales over the first half of the season at the highest in league history. Player-specific merchandise, including jerseys and t-shirts, have seen a staggering 1,000% increase in sales. Additionally, sales of league-specific merchandise like the popular orange WNBA hoodie are also up 200%. The top-selling WNBA player merch, Caitlyn Clark, #1 in jersey sales. While Caitlyn was on the court, it was a totally different story. Ticket sales were insane. If you wanted to see her play, good luck finding a seat. Every game was sold out, packed to the rafters. The Fever's games became the hottest ticket in town, and we're not just talking about filling up the stands. Her jersey sales through the roof. Caitlyn Clark was practically printing money for the WNBA. Then the second she stepped away, everything dried up. Merchandise sales gone. Those arenas that had been stuffed full of screaming fans suddenly looking like ghost towns, half empty, and no one was rushing to buy tickets. Since Caitlyn Clark was eliminated from the playoffs, WNBA ratings have declined 50%. They have lost half of their audience in less than a week, and it's